Welcome back. We're going to talk about the sequential chain here. Imagine that you have two LLMs that are working in series. Your first LLM generates some response, and the generated response is passed over to another LLM, and then you get the response from that. Here, I have one LLM that is an expert in Wikipedia. I have the second element verifies the responses from Wikipedia expert. So the user's question is an input to this sequential chain, and each LLM has its output. First, we import the required libraries. We use the SequentialChain class and the LLM chain to initialize the LLMs individually. I need the openai, the prompt template, and also I use the .env library to call the environment variables. My first chain is the Wikipedia chain. I create the prompt template first and then the LLM chain. The output key for the first chain is wiki response. The second chain is a verifier chain. So I have the corresponding template for the prompt, and I build the prompt and I build the LLM chain. The output key for this one is verifier response. I have my LLMs in place. I have two chains, and I use the sequential chain to combine these two chains. First, I pass the list of chains. The input variable to this sequential chain is a question. So remember, when you want to define input variables, you put the input variable for the sequential chain, not for the individual chains. Conversely, for output variables, you put the output of the two or the output key for each chain. Now, as always, I use the sequential chain invocation method to get some response. Here, I ask a question, what was the last invention of Nikola Tesla? And I run this through the terminal. This is the response I get. The question passed to the first chain. The first chain generates a response. This is going to pass to the second chain as an input, and then the second chain generates a response. Here it is correct. So now that I have built my sequential chain in the code, let's take a look at the Langsmith dashboard to see what information are being passed from one chain to the other chain. I add this with config run name. So with the new config added, I rerun this again. Okay, I got my response, and now I am in my Langsmith dashboard within the project most used chains. This is the name that I previously added through my environment variables. I opened the sequential chain. It took 2.63 seconds to complete, and it has been successful. It contains of two LLM chains, as we have seen in the code, and each LLM chain is passing information or connecting to one LLM. The LLM generates the response, and the response from that LLM chain is then passed to the other chain, and so on and so forth. Chain 1 gets this question and generates this output from the Wikipedia information or from the knowledge of itself. So the prompts that we see here is system prompt along with the question, and the green one is the response. The second LLM gets a question and gets a wiki response and generates some output. And this is the output that the LLM for chain 2 generates the text. So this is the input prompt, and this is the generated output. So it's interesting to observe that sometimes the OpenAI LLM passes both the question and the verifier response together. Sometimes it just passes the verifier response. This is something that you can play with when you are putting those prompt templates for your chains so that it does not generate irrelevant response to your output. I hope that this video was helpful for you. Please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to see you in my next videos. Until then.